So Destiny as a franchise is pretty well dead at this point, but I've been playing more Destiny 2 than I think I ever have, and so I went ahead and threw together a build I've been really enjoying in the past few days, and just wanted to go ahead and show it off. So here's the build. I haven't had a chance to optimize everything. This build, it's pretty fun. So basically it's just a micro-missile LARP type build. It's based around everybody's favorite hazardous propulsion. So with hazardous propulsion, weapon precision hits or final blows have a chance to load a kinetic exodus micro-missile, and activating your class ability fires them, and dealing damage with those micro-missiles increases the damage of other micro-missiles and rocket launchers. So the way this works in game is you just get precision hits or precision kills or whatever have you, and you're going to stack micro-missiles. It stacks up to 6 times, and then when you pop your class ability, you just shoot them all off at once. Pretty decent, pretty cool. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it's pretty fun, and it's really good at chunking majors. The thing that I'm really focusing on with this exotic is the increasing the damage of other micro-missiles. I'm really going super hard into the idea of micro-missiles with this build. The main idea I'm trying to get across is making them as effective as possible, and the main way I'm doing that is through the Implement of Curiosity. The main perk you want here is Energy Acceleration. Sustained damage with micro-missiles causes them to make a kinetic shockwave that's strong against unstops. This is the same as kinetic tremors, but with unstoppable as well. The other perks I've got on here, we've got Fever and Chill for Radiant on solar precision hits. Elemental Benevolence, this is good for our Storm's Keep Barricade, which I'll go over in a second. If anybody else is standing behind it, you're just going to get some more of your barricade back. Horde Shuttle is just a spot keeper, honestly. If you're doing damage and you happen to be damaging a boss that's severed, you're just going to deal a little bit more threadling damage that way. Shoulder to Shoulder, since you're proccing Fever and Chill with your precision weapon, you should be proccing Shoulder to Shoulder and getting damage resistance if you're in a DPS scenario. Again, just a freebie. Radiant Shrapnel, again, because you have Fever and Chill on, you're going to be causing these additional solar mortars, and that's just going to be some additional damage. And lastly, Elemental Overdrive. Again, this is just taking space. There's not a whole lot that really synergizes with micro-missiles aside from Energy Acceleration here, but it all works together really well. Now, in earlier iterations of the build, I tried using Tablet of Ruin for a pretty standard bolt charge setup, and that was fun, but it didn't really lean into the micro-missiles that I was wanting. I also tried the encrypted data disk with kinetic rupture for ruptures that it causes, in addition to Sticker Shock, which deals micro-missiles when you throw a flux grenade. The only problem is it just didn't have the same sauce. That's the only way I know how to describe it. It didn't hit the same as Implement of Curiosity. I just had way more fun running this artifact. So speaking of the abilities, let's go ahead and look at the subclass here. So of course we're running Thunder Crash. We're running Rally Barricade because it's gonna give us Storm's Keep. Running Flux Grenade because, I don't know, when I was using the encrypted data disk, it was just really fun to use. We've got Storm's Keep on. When you're behind the barricade, you get about a stack of Bolt Charge every second, and you can discharge Bolt Charge with your weapon, which basically means about every 10 seconds you're going to deal a big explosion. We got that combined with Knockout. I tried a few of the others. These didn't really... Touch of Thunder doesn't really do anything with the Flux Grenade. Juggernaut, don't really want anything that could decrease the class ability, since we're going to be using that, so Knockout's really the best option here. But the main thing here is you can kind of use Thunderclap as a sort of panic button. So if there's some enemies nearby, some red bars, and you're low on health, you can do that. And there's actually a couple panic buttons in this build. Fragment-wise, we've got Spark of Frequency. Note that this does not actually increase Storm's Keep Bolt Charge, as you might think, but we're mainly using it for the melee hits increase the weapon's reload speed. So if we need to do an emergency reload, we can just pop Spark of Frequency and get a quick reload that way. Spark of Shock, arc grenades jolt targets. Not gonna lie, this is literally just here for overload reasons. but it also makes your Flux Grenade do a little bit more damage and makes it a little better for ad clear. Spark of Resistance for resistance to combatants when you're surrounded. This can be good for really any scenario, just some free damage resistance. And lastly, Spark of Focus. While you're sprinting, your class ability regeneration is increased, which is just good for if you're on the go, trying to keep up Rally Barricade. Now let's look at the weapons. The main exotic weapon we're looking at here is Grand Overture. The thing with Grand Overture is whenever you deal damage, it's going to give you stacks of Omega Strike, and you can get up to 20 of these, and then you can hold reload to fire all 20 of the micro missiles. And these are micro missiles coded in the game, so that means they benefit from the damage of hazardous propulsion. And if you get all 6 stacks of hazardous propulsion, you're going to get an additional 35% damage. So all of these Omega Strike missiles are going to hit, and they're going to be dealing even more damage with that. The only issue is you do have to hit 20 shots with this really slow 100 RPM machine gun, so it's not exactly the fastest thing in the world. Definitely recommend you pre-stack when you're going into a damage phase with that. The Catalyst is not necessary at all, but it can be kind of good for ad clear, and it also gives you handling to swap in those reload stages. Additionally, getting ahead of myself a little bit, but we do have a couple arc weapon surges on. So you're doing probably about 40 to 45% increased damage just from those things. Second, we got Velantif D. This is a new micro-missile pulse rifle that they put in through Spyro Racing, and it's kind of an odd pick, but I picked it because, number one, it is one of 3 micro-missile frames in the entire game, and 2, it can roll with Heal Clip. And what's really interesting about Heal Clip is, again, this is another panic button you've got, so you're dealing a ton of damage with your missiles, and when you get a kill, you can just reload, and you get a burst of healing. Also, you've got Burning Ambition here. This is by no means optimal, but if you want to do some scorching, then Burning Ambition is your friend here. Mainly, this is just here, though, so we can trigger Fever and Chill, and also bank on Radiant Shrapnel. Because the idea is if we can proc Fever and Chill off of Velantif D, because it's a pulse rifle, it only takes about 2 to 3 bursts on the head, and it's also micro-missile, so you're really not losing out on very much damage at all with this weapon. And lastly, our primary weapon. I've got Synchronic Roulette. This is a Neomuna weapon, so it's got nanotech tracer missiles, which multiple hits turns your next shot into a micro-missile. Again, benefiting from all that stuff. You can really run whatever you want. You don't have to run this gun. I actually got super lucky with this roll. I got Attrition Orbs and Chaos Reshaped on my first ever drop. But it's also super annoying to farm because that means you have to go to Neomuna and you have to listen to Nimbus. But if you can get past that, it's pretty fun, and I found it really enjoyable. In previous iterations of this build, I actually used Quicksilver Storm, but specifically without the Catalyst, because when you equip the Catalyst, it turns it into a strand gun, which isn't bad, but while it is kinetic, one thing that you can do is actually synergize this with Kinetic Rupture and Kinetic Synthesis from the encrypted data disk. So if you really want to lean into that kinetic synergy, then Quicksilver Storm is a really good way to do that. And finally, the last piece of this build is the armor. So we are using 7th Seraph for the armor. Now, originally when I was planning out this build, I was going to run with the Deepstone Crypt armor because of the 4-piece Godlike Judgment. When your shields are broken by a combatant or upon casting your super, release a swarm of heat-seeking micro-missiles. Now, the interesting thing about this is on the Destiny Data Compendium, it states that they deal about 682 damage. If you add the 35% from hazardous propulsion, it goes up to about a little under 1,000. And so when it fires 4 missiles from casting your super, plus the 35% from hazardous propulsion, you're getting about 3.6k additional damage, which isn't very bad. It's pretty solid, but it's not exactly effective, and it's kind of difficult to get a team for Deepstone. Nobody's really running it, at least at the time of me making this video. Probably when it rotates in, people will start farming it, but Me personally, I don't really feel like going out and doing that. I've got the title. I'm good with Deepstone for a while. But for the 7th Seraph set bonus, Rasputin's Wrath, Final Blows with area of effect damage grant Warmind charges, which increase weapons and grenade stats. Micro missiles are area of effect damage, same with Velantif D. This is area of effect damage. Pretty well anything you're doing is area of effect damage. It's going to give you a stack of Warmind charge, that stacks up to 10, that increases your weapons and grenade stats by 40 each. This is just another way to bump up your damage. Again, my ideal stat spread for this is actually to have grenade at 30, so that with the plus 40 grenade from the Warmind charges, it gets up to 70, which gives me base grenade recharge. And then weapons gets super highly maxed out, so I can really take advantage of Grand Overture with super kind of in the middle. So if you're looking for stats to prioritize, definitely super, class, and weapons. I went with, I'm trying to find a good powerhouse mark. This is not a very good mark that I have, but both the helmet and the boots here are kind of my ideal. Along with hazardous propulsion. The idea is just to get 2 powerhouse and 3 specialists, and that should kind of get you on your way to the stat package that you're looking for. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop into solo ops, and we're going to go ahead and show off how this build works. Alright, so we are currently loading into the Skywatch solo ops, running it on master difficulty. No modifiers or anything like that. The only thing is it has barrier champions, which, coincidentally, my Synchronic Roulette deals with that. This build actually handles all 3 champion types, so don't really got to worry too much about any difficulties with champions or anything of that sort.
You've got eyes, but nobody on deck. You're on your own.
Mute this. There we go. Okay, so again, the main gameplay for this build is to just get a bunch of stacks of your micro missiles. So you can see I've got those 2 kills, which means I've already got 2 stacks of my Exodus rockets. And then we can go ahead and pop our shield. Do some damage there. And we can go ahead and run forward. So very, very quick, very snappy. You can see I've already almost got my Exodus rockets, and we have our barricade back as well. So whenever there is a bigger target, all we got to do is just run over and take care of it. Just like that. There's our Barrier Knight. Didn't even need it. My aim is not that great. But you can kind of see how the flow of this build goes. You're really just kind of tearing face with everything going on here. For some reason, this gun has an extremely low reload speed. Right now I've got a strand loader on, which, that's something I forgot to mention. The armor mods, they don't really matter all that much. It's really just things that benefit me in the mid-game. Not really anything particularly crazy going on. But as I said, I have a strand loader on because Synchronic Roulette, at least my roll, is a little slow to reload. It's just kind of driving me crazy. Okay, so here's that panic button I was saying. 1 kill, and it brings me back all the way up to full health. Really useful. And you can see I just got a Warmind charge stack running there, so very easy for me to keep that whole thing going. Go ahead and build up a couple stacks here. Full health. Easy breezy, cover it all. I don't know why I said that. Our grenade can do a little bit of work as well. The main thing for me is just the abundance of panic buttons, because I play games extremely aggressively, and I tend to get myself in situations where I kind of overextend, and so this build is very forgiving because it lets me continue to put myself in these bad situations and then get me out immediately. Just got a couple more crystals left to go. And there we go. Just wasted so much ammo. Okay, we can go ahead and move into the boss encounter, which, according to my calculations, should go pretty smoothly. Typically doesn't take very long. Go ahead and take that arrow, actually. As you can see, we have max Exodus rockets. Go ahead and build a couple stacks of Warmine charge here, just for the fun of it. As you can see, we're dealing quite a lot of damage, quite effective. Again, it's not like day one raiding or anything like that, but we're definitely doing some good work here, especially considering we're not doing a whole lot of crazy shenanigans. And the main thing we're doing is literally just shooting things. It's very, very gun focused, and I quite enjoy that. Let's go ahead and pop that. Burst that down. That was a fluke. Actual blueberry gameplay going on right now. Let's max out these Exodus rockets. So as you can see, if I land a few hits, we get Radiant going. And then we can just finish them off with Grand Overture. And that's it. So again, the build is pretty fun. The main idea is to just kind of run through everything and burst it down with as many missiles as you can. You really don't have to think terribly hard with this build. You've just got to make sure that you're hitting stuff with missiles, and casting your class ability a lot. That was one thing that was beneficial because of Reaper and Powerful Attraction. All that stuff together really works to make it effective. But with all that said, that's kind of all of this build. That's all I really wanted to show off. So, yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed the build. Again, I know the game is kind of dead, but I just really wanted to show off this build. Thought it was really fun. And, yeah, alright. See you guys.